Well, I just want to start off the video by saying thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I mean, that's pretty low by YouTube standards, but it's uh it's high for me. It's high in my heart. I never thought I'd get past like 50 subscribers, let alone 100, and I'm grateful to each and every one of you for subscribing. Um, it means a lot. But I thought in honor of 100 subscribers, I'd show 3 100 elo games. But that doesn't mean games played by 100 elo level players. It means games played by 800 to 1500 elo players playing like a 100. One such 1500 elo player that played like a 100 is me, and I'm white in this game. But this is a bullet game, which I'm only 750 in. So I'm 1500 in 10 minutes. So I'm 1500 on Lee Chess. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like 1800 or 1700 on Lee Chess, but I haven't played on that website in a while. All right, without further ado, let's watch this absolute atrocity of a game. The beginning is not an absolute atrocity because we got the Danish Gambit. And as I say in every video, this pawn to d6 and pawn to e5 is a bait because if he takes here, then boom, bishop captures the check, and if king tries to keep defending the queen from the other queen, now bishop a3 check, the king has to go away, and that's a queen. So that's he doesn't do that. He puts his bishop out and we trade. And I go queen h5 check, trying to make an attack, and he goes king e7 blundering. It's a really bad blunder because bishop to b3 pins the queen against the king. That just wins, and then the knight defends. That just wins the queen in the game. You could block with c5, but the bishop could just take it anyway because this queen is defending it. Oop. But it would have to move all the way over there, obviously, not right here where it could just get captured. But I don't play that, and I instead give up queen b4 check. All threats are gone. Bishop blocks. Queen checks over here. King moves out of the way. And now knight to f6, attacking my queen. So I attack his queen. Danger levels. That's what Gotham Chess said to do, right? Danger levels. Well, actually, no. Because he literally just has queen to d3 check. Not only is that a fork, but because it's check, I have to move my king out of the way, and then he can just take my queen for absolutely free, and I pretty much lose the game on the spot. But he goes queen to c6. Doesn't miss the check here or here. That instantly wins in the game. And then I'm like, ho ho, I'll show you how to make checks. Boom, bishop to b4 check. All right, totally blundering the fact that my queen is still indeed hanging. King moves out of the way. At least he has to react to that. And now I pull it together. All right, my two brain cells collide. They come together, and I find this fork, which loses the game back. It loses the game back because if all he has to do is just move like here or something, and then knight captures here, but that doesn't come with check, which so means he can just take back right here. And so in response, he resigned because the plot twist, he never saw my queen hanging either. We both missed this move. That was absolutely, absolutely atrocious. That is a 100 elo game, all right? Especially the resignation in a winning position. All right. Speaking of uh speaking of choking winning positions, we have another game. And this game was another bullet game. The players in this bullet game are rated a little under 600 in bullet. The one player I know is rated about 1,000 in rapid. But yet, there was 100 elo chess played. Let's look at it. We have this Scotch game, always a solid choice. It was chosen by the great XQC in PogChamps 1 right before Moist Critical hit him with that throbbing checkmate. E captures, knight captures, knight captures, queen captures, and d6, the last book move. And knight develops so far so good. This isn't 100 at all. Well, e5, it's not the worst move just looking at it, but obviously it's an inaccuracy. It basically forces that pawn to capture, else the knight's hanging. Actually, the knight could move here because the bishop defends it, like the computer is suggesting. I just don't think that's you really have anything super. Oh, because it defends the pawn. I don't. Yeah, I mean that's all right. Computer's way smarter than me. Okay, as you saw by the last game, around 100 accuracy. We have a trade. Bishop pins. Okay, that's solid. Bishop pins. All right, a pin for a pin. Now, White makes a huge mistake here. All right, and that huge mistake is not being a Giga Chad and castling with check. All right, it is the rule of chess. You must castle if you can castle with check. All right, these players, they need to learn. Um, and also, if the king moves something like here, this is the threatening an opera mate if the knight moves. It's called an opera mate because Paul Morphy played it at the opera. These two like English nobles or Scottish nobles or whatever were like, hey, Paul Morphy, let's go to an opera and let's just enjoy it. And it's totally not like a trick to like throw you off your balance as we 2v1 you in chess. And he still just clapped their cheeks by sacrificing his queen and doing this opera mate. So a little bit of chess history right there. Speaking of chess history, we're making some because we just have a trade here. And now bishop goes to c4, attacking the pawn. Again, queenside castles with check is on the board. Okay. Now queenside castles with check is on the board, but it's a lot less good now. Um, and now we have rook comes out with check when you could have queenside castled. King moves out of the way, and we have a trade. It says Stockfish says this is the best move, but I don't like fixing your opponent's pawn structure for him. Like now, like 2 pawns in the center are better than 2 pawns over here, like doubled. Castles. Okay, so now we have a pawn blunder, but instead the black blunders it right back because you see this rook takes right here and then rook takes right here and the pawn is free. But he just takes the pawn first, gets the move order wrong, captures, 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 and now black is up 1 pawn. Rook goes to c2. Rook goes to h4, and we have a trade. Check. King to d6. Imagine the only move protecting the pawn's the best move. Rook to h6. Captures, captures. Turning into Agamator. Okay, attacks the pawn. Now h4. Now the white's going to try to push his pass pawn. Black pushes his pawn. Both sides are pushing, and now black throws away a huge advantage because now white can play rook to f1, and there's pretty much no promoting this pawn. You would have to play something like rook to b2 so you can go here, but that is too slow because after this, and then like rook to b2, white still gets a queen. And also, not only that, but that queen covers the queening square. So black really choked their advantage here and takes the pawn, choking the advantage again. Because remember how I said that there's no stopping this pawn? There isn't. Rook tries to go here. Like if white just moves the pawn up, rook tries to go here. Well, that square's covered. So this is just a free queen. This is a free queen. It's free. Oh, and then he goes rook to a1. He was too focused on the other person getting a queen that he forgot about his own. Oh no. And now rook to g3. I don't know what this move does. What? He wants to go back here. But white can cover that square. Even then, well, yeah, I mean, white can just push the pawn. Push the pawn. It covers the only square the rook can recover to. Besides this one, but that's already covered. Push the pawn. It is a win. No, he attacks the rook. No. Now rook goes back. Pawn to g3. Don't ask me why he's pushing that pawn. I mean, you could take this pawn right now for free. Okay. And, okay, now he takes the pawn after he played this move for no reason. Okay. Alright. And now black is up a pawn in a rook endgame. Are we going to see the famous Lucena and Philidor positions? Well, not quite. Black is pushing this really well. King to g3. Obviously his king is cut off there by the rook. But you either... like, you want to try to get your rook involved somehow. Like, you can make back checks like this and try to make threats on this pawn or something. Rook goes to b1. king to e3, and this doesn't work because rook here is super free. Now you're guaranteed basically a queen. So, okay, king does nothing. Now rook attacks a pawn. Okay, check. King moves out of the way. Uh, king goes in. Pawn goes up. Queen made. All right, good job by black. At least they did get their queen. Take, and pawn goes up, but the rook is going to recover. You just do that. Now the king is outside of the square of the pawn, and it's now mate in 11. And by the way, this mistake did not make a difference. It goes from like -5 to mate in 11. Like, you're not stopping the queen. All right, so now we have a queen versus a king all by itself. Okay, he's doing good. He's pushing him to the end. Black has 35 seconds left. All right, all you got to do is not stalemate. Okay, after queen to c5, only move king to b7. King to d6. All right, set the trap. King to a6. King to d5. Okay, you just put the king back for no reason. You know, you're repeating moves. And king to d7 is forced. And the players repeated moves. And we have a draw. The players repeated moves. And it was a draw. In this position. Let me emphasize this very strongly. The players repeated moves. There was not a noob stalemate. That happens to everybody. There was not a timeout versus insufficient material draw. That happens to everybody. This was a repeat moves draw with a queen. And this is why you need to watch my endgame videos. But if you think that it doesn't get worse, I'm sorry to say that it does. Because this game was not a bullet game, unlike the others. But it was a 15-minute, 10-second bonus game. Both players are rated 500. And let's get started. We have this like going for a London system. All right, boom, London system. I like the London system. The London system is the best. Now, the computer's going to be screaming for c4. It's objectively one of the best moves here, but you know, the London system doesn't care about the computer. The London system is better than the computer. Pawn to h5. Do not ask me what this does. Do not ask me what this does. Well, first of all, black played f6. As Ben Feingold says, never play f6. This king is weak here, okay? And the queen can easily get to that. I mean, these pieces have to... Oops, not that piece. These pieces have to get out of the way, but that's not too difficult. The king is now open. Now pawn to h5. If you wanted a monkey, you should have played pawn to g5 like the computer says, because it comes with an attack on the bishop. And then you can play pawn to h5. Okay, pawn to h4. All right, let's counterattack there. Knight to d7. Now queen comes out. Pawn, that is just a free pawn, because look, just all you have to do is count. You have 1, 2, 3 pieces attacking the pawn, and black has 1, 2 defenders. All right, that is a take. That is a take. Also, you can go queen to g6 with check. King has to go here, and then you can take the pawn, and it just makes black's position way worse because their king is going to be awkward the whole time. But instead we have pawn to e4, blundering the bishop. Pawn takes. Now it's open. All right. Bishop to b4 check. Knight blocks. I mean, honestly, you should just block with the pawn. That way the bishop has to move. And you're playing London system. You want the pawn here anyway, and you want the knight here anyway. But obviously, most London system setups, you know, you don't blunder your bishop. You know, most lines of the London, you don't do that. Okay. Okay. Now this pawn. Again, it's not a free pawn, but it's, I mean, you might as well just do it and you get rid of your doubled pawns. Okay, queenside castle. Good move. If only last guy saw queenside castle with check. Captures. Queen captures over here. Now, knight to h6. This is a blunder because it allows white to win a bishop, which white finds with pawn to d6, cutting off the queen's defense of the bishop. So the bishop, in order to save itself, just tries to take one down with it. And now this is free because it's attacked twice and only defended one time. Oops, it's only defended one time. So that literally wins a bishop for a pawn. And white plays the other bishop. Instead of taking the free bishop, white plays the other bishop. But maybe white is trying to get a pin right here and make things really awkward for black. Well, knight to f5. A mistake. Even though it defends the bishop. Oops. Even though it defends the bishop, it allows queen to d5. Now, this knight is under attack, and the knight is the only other defense of the bishop. And not only that, this is a threat. Pawn to g6, defending the knight, and now white finds it. You're probably like, this game isn't too bad, right? I mean, we've had some silly moments, but, you know, it's not 100 elo. Well, we'll get there. We will get there. Okay, sacrifices the knight. Okay, you might as well just take this. I mean, you know, you get a passed pawn near your opponent's king, but okay, you can attack a bishop. Bishop goes back. Now, the material on the board is equal. It is completely equal. Because remember, white blundered the bishop earlier. Now, pawn captures. Now, knight goes here. Again, the bishop is still under attack twice and only defended once. Take it. Instead, white disconnects. White disconnects the queen and the rook. So now the bishop is actually safe. Rook here. Okay, rook here attacking the pawn. Now bishop defends. All right, good job. Okay, pawn goes up here. And bishop goes back to keep defending the pawn. And now white moves their bishop to b3. Blundering big time. Ugh. Excuse me. But white misses it. They needed to move their knight to the other square. Figured out why knight to c5 is good. Because the rook is pretty trapped. Rook can go here, but it's defended twice. You don't want to move it there, obviously. Here is covered by the pawn. So you could go here. Oh. Oh. You move the rook. And then this is check. This is check. It's check. You have to block with the rook. Otherwise, black gets a queen. And bam. And bam. And yes, this pawn is going to fall. But all black has to do is just get the king out of the way, or defend the pawn one more time, or play bishop to g4 defending the pawn, and that's fine. But black moves their knight to the wrong square, attacks the queen instead. Queen goes over here. Queen to a5 comes in the counterattack on the knight. And it looks good. But queen to f3 also looked good for white. Now, we have a time report. This is a 15-10 game. White has 9 minutes and 11 seconds. Black has 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Bishop goes to g4. Queen goes out of the way. King goes out of the way. Now, knight attacks pawn. Pawn comes in with check. Now, I mean, this knight is just, this is over. King moves out of the way. Gets a queen, take, boom. And because white has pawn to a3, and the queen really does not have a lot of squares. The knight takes away these squares. The bishop takes away all of these squares. The pawn takes away this square. The rook takes away this file. So the queen has two moves. Right here and right here. One of those is better than the other. And black finds it. Black finds it, but that does allow a fork, but the bishop defends the fork. But the fork is still the best move. Because after this trade, obviously the knight would be taken. After this trade, it puts a lot of, with the rook here, it puts a lot of pressure on the black position. queen to e4, attacking this pawn. However, this rook is still under attack. And then black blunders the game. Because now black had counted, but stopped at 1. Because if the queen takes, it's defended by the rook. The king cannot take back. And in fact, it's pretty much checkmate. Because after you take this, king has to go here, only move. And the bishop covers this square. This is checkmate. Oh, also, if that's not good enough, you have this, forcing this, which is also checkmate. His white's plan with this move was to get the pawn, and damn it, he got the pawn. Black trades. This is checkmate. Queen to f7, most common checkmate pattern. And white takes. It misses checkmate. But that is okay, because this is still threatening checkmate. This knight is not under attack. Because if the queen takes it, it's checkmate. Now, how do you defend this? Well, one way to defend it is to move the bishop back to d7, which doesn't defend anything, and still allows checkmate. And white takes this, which is also checkmate.